welcome to this week's 6th edition of the football preview show here on GameTimePA-TV. I'm John Buffone, and throughout this episode we'll be checking in with all of our GameTimePA reporters to break down the most interesting matchups in their area. Let's start right here in Lancaster, where the premier matchup of the week is the Section 1 showdown between Hempfield and Wilson. The Wilson Bulldogs have not lost a section game since 2007, but they'll be put to the test this week when they roll into Landisville to take on the undefeated Black Knights. Hempfield sports a high-powered offense with quarterback Sam Kramer and tailback Will Blair, who both rushed for over 100 yards last week in a 10-point victory over J.P. McCaskey. That offense will be put to the test as well when they face a Wilson defense that is averaging under 9 points per game allowed on defense. Without question, this is the matchup to watch in the LL this week. Now let's see what's going on in the rest of South Central PA.
I'm Zach Miller from the Evening Sun in Hanover, and our game of the week is DeLone Catholic at Biglerville. The Canners are looking for revenge after last season's game went to DeLone Catholic by an 18-6 score in a game filled with some controversial calls by the referees. Right now, Biglerville comes in on a 3-game win streak, 2-0 in Division III, and looking to stay ahead of the pack. DeLone Catholic, meanwhile, just picked up his first division win, beating Littlestown 23-6, as Tavian Dorsey ran for 166 yards to lead the Squires. We'll see who can stay at the front of the pack in Division III on Friday.
This is Brandon Stoneburg, the York Daily Record, Game Time PA, and we're talking about our game of the week. And I know we've talked about Northeastern a few weeks in a row, but how can we not give it to Northeastern and Dallastown? Two of the league's three left remaining undefeated teams going at it, 5-0, 5-0. Northeastern's coaches have been talking about getting program wins to try and prove that they're a legitimate threat in Division I. They got one last week in a big win over Red Lion. They try to add to it this week. They're going to try and spoil Dallastown's homecoming. The Wildcats coming off a blowout win against William Penn, and they cruised by Spring Grove the week before that. They just keep chugging along. Their defense has only given up 38 points all year. That's 6 points per game if you're good at math. And they're forcing the league best 7. Their turnover ratio is a league best +7. So it should be a big showdown. Both top 10 offenses, both top 6 defenses. We'll see it Friday night at Dallastown.
Hi, I'm Lizi Arbogast with GameTimePA Franklin-Fulton, and I'm here at Chambersburg where the Trojans are getting ready to host Mifflin County in a big homecoming game for Chambersburg. The Trojans, this is a must-win game for the Trojans. They're staring down the barrel of a potential 0-10 season if they don't get a win against Mifflin County this weekend. Looking at the Huskies, they're a pass-heavy team. They're going to be looking to pass the ball. They've only got about 200 yards of offense on the ground so far this year, so the Trojans are really going to have to clamp down on their secondary defense. Meanwhile, Chambersburg has got to get their big 3 running backs going. Darius Johnson, Warren Lee, Carter Edmondson, they all made some noise last week. If they can really get those 3 moving this week, they have a chance to get their first win of the season. Thanks for joining me. I'm Lizi Arbogast.
Out here in Lebanon, where Week 6 brings about 2 premier matchups, and we're going to start down in Section 3. Elko and Donegal, both 2-0 in section play, along with Northern Lebanon. Everyone else has yet to have a win, and the winner here will have a big leg up on the competition. Last year's meeting, a 20-18 Indians victory down in Mount Joy, and I expect much of the same heading down at Myerstown this Friday. Meanwhile, the 5-0 Palmyra Cougars will head on the road to Boiling Springs to take on the 4-1 Bubblers. Should be another close game, as was last year's. The Cougars keep rolling after having 0 passing yards, but still finding ways to win here in 2015. We'll throw it back to John in Lancaster.
Well, that concludes this week's edition of GameTimePA-TV. Thank you for tuning in. For updates on all your favorite games, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And as always, enjoy the games this weekend.